African spirituality and religion. Hello, and welcome to this video on African spirituality and religion. In this video, we will explore the rich history and traditions of African spirituality and religion. We will also examine the similarities and differences between various African spiritual practices and how they have influenced African culture and society. African religions refer to the indigenous spiritual practices and beliefs of the people of Africa. These religions have a long and rich history that predates the arrival of Christianity and Islam on the African continent. African religions are diverse and varied, with each community having its unique beliefs and traditions. In this article, we will explore the key features of African religions, their beliefs, practices, and their impact on African culture and society. Beliefs. African religions are based on the belief that there is a divine force that controls the universe, and that everything in the universe is interconnected. African spirituality teaches that everything in the universe is connected and that each individual is part of a larger whole. This interconnectedness is expressed through the use of symbols and rituals that are deeply rooted in African culture. Another important aspect of African spirituality is the belief ancestor veneration. Ancestors are seen as important spiritual guides who can offer protection, guidance, and support to their living descendants. Ancestor veneration is expressed through various rituals and practices, such as pouring libations, making offerings, and performing ceremonies. A brief history of African spirituality. African spirituality has a long and rich history that predates the arrival of Christianity and Islam on the African continent. African spirituality is rooted in the belief that there is a divine force that controls the universe, and that everything in the universe is interconnected. Before the arrival of colonialism and the slave trade, African spiritual practices were diverse and varied, with each community having its unique beliefs and traditions. However, with the arrival of European colonizers and the spread of Christianity and Islam, many African spiritual practices were demonized and suppressed, leading to a loss of cultural heritage. The origins of African spirituality. The origins of African spirituality can be traced back to ancient times and the diverse cultures and societies that have existed on the African continent for thousands of years. African spirituality is characterized by a deep connection to the natural world and a belief in the interconnectedness of all living beings. It is often seen as holistic, incorporating the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life, and emphasizing the importance of community and communal practices. Many of the religious traditions and spiritual practices in Africa are rooted in pre-colonial times and reflect the beliefs and values of different ethnic groups and communities. Over time, these beliefs and practices have evolved and adapted to changing circumstances, including the introduction of new religions such as Christianity and Islam. African spirituality has also been influenced by external factors, such as trade, migration, and colonization, which have brought new ideas and practices to the continent. Despite these influences, however, many aspects of African spirituality have persisted and continue to be practiced today, often alongside or in combination with other religions or spiritual traditions. Practices. African religions are characterized by a rich array of rituals and practices that vary from community to community. One of the most prominent practices is the use of music and dance. Music and dance are used to express the spiritual connection between the living and the dead, and to create a sense of community and unity among believers. Another important practice in African religions is divination. Divination is the practice of seeking guidance or knowledge from spirits or ancestors through various methods, such as throwing bones, reading patterns in the sand, or interpreting dreams. African religions also use various forms of healing and medicine, such as herbalism and spiritual healing. These practices are often combined with the use of prayer, meditation, and fasting to promote physical and spiritual well-being. Impact on African culture and society. African religions have had a profound impact on the culture and society of the African continent. They have influenced art, music, literature, and architecture, and have provided a foundation for social and political organization. African religions have also played a role in the resistance to colonialism and slavery. Many enslaved Africans brought their spiritual practices with them to the Americas, where they were combined with indigenous and European traditions to create new forms of spiritual expression. Today, African religions continue to play an important role in African culture and society. They provide a sense of connection to the past and a foundation for spiritual and social identity. African religions are also increasingly recognized as an important aspect of global spirituality, and many people around the world are exploring African spirituality through books, videos, and other forms of media. Key tenets of African spirituality. One of the key tenets of African spirituality is the belief in the interconnectedness of all things. African spirituality teaches that everything in the universe is connected and that each individual is part of a larger whole. This interconnectedness is expressed through the use of symbols and rituals that are deeply rooted in African culture. Another important aspect of African spirituality is the belief in ancestor veneration. Ancestors are seen as important spiritual guides who can offer protection, guidance, and support to their living descendants. Ancestor veneration is expressed through various rituals and practices, such as pouring libations, making offerings, and performing ceremonies. Types of African spirituality and religion. There are many different types of African spirituality and religion, each with its unique set of beliefs and practices. Some of the most well-known African spiritual practices include 1. Ifa. Ifa is a Yoruba spiritual practice that originated in Nigeria. It is based on the belief in the power of the Orisha, or spiritual beings, who can offer guidance and protection to their followers. 2. VODOU. VODOU is a Haitian spiritual practice that combines African, European, and indigenous traditions. It is based on the belief in the Loa, or spirits, who can offer protection, guidance, and healing to their followers. 3. SANTERIA. SANTERIA is a Cuban spiritual practice that combines African, indigenous, and Christian traditions. It is based on the belief in the Orishas, who can offer protection, guidance, and healing to their followers. 4. CANDOMBLE. Candomblé is a Brazilian spiritual practice that originated among Afro-Brazilian communities. It is based on the belief in the orixás, or spiritual forces, who can offer guidance and protection to their followers. African spirituality and the diaspora. African spirituality has had a profound impact on the African diaspora, particularly in the Americas. Many enslaved Africans brought their spiritual practices with them to the Americas, where they were combined with indigenous and European traditions to create new forms of spiritual expression. One of the most well-known examples of African spirituality in the Americas is the practice of hoodoo, which is a blend of African spiritual practices and indigenous herbalism. Hoodoo is practiced by many African Americans in the United States and is often used for healing, protection, and spiritual guidance. The future of African spirituality. Today, African spirituality is experiencing a resurgence in popularity as more people seek to connect with their ancestral roots and reclaim their cultural heritage. There are many organizations and communities dedicated to preserving and promoting African spirituality and religion. Many people are exploring African spirituality through books, videos, and other forms of media. One of the challenges facing African spirituality and religion today is the lack of acceptance and recognition by mainstream society. Many people still view African spirituality as primitive or backward, which can make it difficult for practitioners to express their beliefs openly. Despite these challenges, there is a growing movement to promote African spirituality and religion, and to educate people about its rich history and traditions. This movement is driven by a desire to connect with one's ancestral roots, to find meaning and purpose in life, and to create a more just and equitable world. In conclusion, African spirituality and religion have a long and rich history that has influenced the culture and society of the African continent and the African diaspora. While African spiritual practices have faced many challenges over the centuries, there is a growing movement to reclaim and promote this important aspect of African culture and heritage. We hope that this video has provided you with a deeper understanding of African spirituality and religion, and has inspired you to learn more about this fascinating topic. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.